big thank you to everyone who has continued to enjoy the Xena content on my channel, including the longest video on the series thus far, covering the 4th season, uploaded in May 2023. Despite some computer issues along the way, I'm real glad I was able to get it done. Those of you who have been around for a while will know how this type of video goes by now, but here's a quick reminder for those of you who are new. I'll briefly summarize the events of each episode as the countdown progresses from 10 to 1. Please refer back to the big Season 4 video for more detailed recaps of each episode. And of course, always remember, I am merely a fan sharing which episodes he enjoyed the most. It's all in good fun. Alright, let's get into it. These are my 10 favorite episodes from Season 4 of Xena Warrior Princess. At number 10, I have Daughter of Palmyra from January 18th, 1999. Xena and Gabrielle come across a familiar group of savages from Season 2, the Horde. The warrior princess is still not a fan of these guys, especially after they defeated her army in a battle that is shown via flashback. As a group of them escorts a young blonde girl several feet away, this bloodthirsty lad named Milo takes an older member out. His next target is the little girl, but Xena puts a stop to that. In the town, the mother and father reveal the name of that girl, their daughter Vanessa, whom they miss dearly after she was taken by the Horde 6 years ago. The mission is simple: save Vanessa and return her to her family. The warrior princess infiltrates Horde HQ by appearing as one of them and rescues the little girl. However, Vanessa doesn't want anything to do with her birth name or her biological parents. Instead, Pili reveals the Horde are actually known as the Palmyra, and she wants to be returned to their leader, Cervic, now. And in case you weren't convinced she wants nothing to do with these two, she scratches her bloodfather's face. With no love lost between her and the Palmyra, Xena opts to take all those dudes out, and everyone in town rallies behind her. But actually, the jet black-haired heroine tells our bard that she only intends to draw out the Palmyra by using Pili as a peace offering. Then the little girl can decide who she wants to go with, once and for all. When the Palmyra do show up, their leader wants his adopted daughter back. Milo nearly wrecks everything with a sneak attack before Xena takes him out. Despite her biological father's contempt for the Palmyra, Pili's wish to spend time with both of her families from now on is granted, and peace is restored. This follow-up to Season 2's The Price may not have been one of my favorites initially, but it has really grown on me in recent years. What you have here is a real good story of two families who have deep-rooted reasons as to why they need Vanessa or Pili back in their lives, even if it means war. This episode was actually inspired by the 1956 film The Searchers, a John Wayne story that explores a similar situation the main character faces when a group of Native Americans abduct his niece. The parallels between that film and this episode are striking, making me an even bigger fan of these 45 minutes of Xena action. Special thanks to Stephen L. Sears for sharing that piece of behind-the-scenes information with me at the 2024 XenaCon. At number 9, I have Devi, the first of 3 episodes from the season taking place in India. This one premiered on February 8th, 1999. Xena and Gabrielle come across a magic show conducted by the one they call Eli. His assistant, Maya, is completely disfigured in the middle of the show, but she's okay. Actually, no, she's possessed. Our bard hops on stage to calm the assistant down, releasing the spirit that made her go crazy. The witnesses all proclaim Gabrielle as their new Devi, and condemn Eli for summoning evil spirits. The town priest wants the magician's head, so Xena hides him in this temple. It is here where we learn about Eli's desire to bring peace to all those who are suffering, a passion of his since he was only 13. Meanwhile, the townsfolk openly worship Gabrielle at every turn, and our bard eventually soaks up all the adoration. But Xena isn't having any of it, especially when she realizes the Devi is actually Eli. Soon enough, the real evil spirit at play possesses our bard, the demon goddess known as Tataka. An exorcism is needed to save Gabrielle, but Eli is having none of that crap. Xena attempts to perform the act on her own, but not without some heavy resistance from the goddess. Our jet black-haired heroine takes Gabrielle down and unleashes the pinch. Remember when Eli said he wanted no part of this? He lied. With the power of Abba, the Devi successfully frees our bard from Tataka's control. Maybe there is a greater healing power out there, and maybe it is a force for good. An excellent start to the India saga with some captivating scenes, including the dog chase in the town, Tataka fully possessing Gabrielle, and the fight scene in the town between Xena and the demon goddess. Timothy Amundsen is great in his debut, and the design of this temple is still really cool to look at. You really can't go wrong with any of the 3 India episodes, but this is my favorite of the bunch. At number 8, I'm going with Paradise Found, the second episode of the series directed by the executive producer Rob Tappert from February 1st, 1999. On their way to India, our 2 heroines take a breather in a holy place, and that is a gnarly gash. Holy Podadia! A strange sound leads to Gabrielle falling into this giant hole, never to be seen again. Great, Xena fell in too. Actually, they aren't deed, even though the place they end up in looks heavenly. Hey, that gash is gone. The random dude named Gar says this place belongs to another lad named Aiden, leading to this wonderful set design when Xena and Gabrielle go looking for him. What does all this mean? Inner peace, says Aiden, something he has cultivated even after losing his family. Gabrielle wants a piece of this inner peace, so despite some hesitation from Xena, an agreement is reached to stay. As Gabrielle works through some trauma in between yoga poses with Aiden, Xena slowly begins losing her mind. It's still funny to see Xena all worked up doing sit-ups while Gabrielle is totally zen. When Aiden convinces Xena to leave before she really acts on her visions of torturing Gabrielle, we learn that Gar isn't such a random dude after all. These blue statues were once his fellow comrades in battle, who all fell victim to Aiden's stillness crap. The warrior princess must fight the light with darkness. She goes off the deep end and fights Aiden to save Gabrielle, who is also turning blue. When Xena sets Gar up for the kill, our bard snaps out of her trance, leaving Aiden wide open for the sword. Gar is finally free to reunite with his family, and we learn that maybe Xena's dark side isn't such a bad thing. A real good episode that continues the theme of Gabrielle searching for her real purpose that began at the end of a family affair. Aspects I really like include the aforementioned blue statue designs, the yoga session between Gabrielle and Aiden, Xena going from peacefully doing Tai Chi Chuan to yelling at birds within seconds, the final battle between Xena and Aiden, and of course, the Zen bed. It's as amazing as it looks. Jeremy Roberts is once again stellar as the antagonist, and the duality of good and evil is presented well here. At number 7, it's Past Imperfect, written by Stephen L. Sears from January 4th, 1999. Xena and Gabrielle arrive to the town of Actus to save the citizens from an attack. Upon saving a little girl, the warrior princess takes a big bump, flashing us back to more of her evil past. A very pregnant Xena is leading her army in the Battle of Corinth, and her victims are trapped like rats. Not even the impending birth of her child will stop her from finding the Ixion Stone. Xena calls for centaur bloodshed, but Boreas would rather have them fighting on their side. Sick of all the alliance and family crap, the two eventually split the army when the Hungarian chooses to save the centaur leader, Callipus, from surefire death. Meanwhile, in the present, the warrior princess notices every single one of her tactics from the Battle of Corinth being meticulously recreated right in front of her eyes. She is eventually shot by a poison dart, a la Season 1's The Greater Good, and the sinister plot is revealed. Satrina, the same woman who was right by Xena's side as she gave birth to Solon, has been leading the attack on Actus. She says she had Dagnan kill Boreas as revenge for Xena murdering her former warlord and lover. Unfortunately for Satrina, the warrior princess remembered to take some of that kala root she received the night Solon was born before entering the cave. The reinforcements arrive, and the hard-hitting action causes the cave to collapse. There is no way Satrina survived that. Probably. The episode ends with Xena in tears as she painfully relives the moment she gave up Solon to Callipus, one of the many centaurs Boreas died fighting for. Another scintillating look at Xena's past, with excellent parallels between the Battle of Corinth and the Battle of Actus. I love how each of the war tactics come together full circle, with Xena taking that kala root in the cave, and Martin Chokash is excellent as Boreas once again. Best of all, the reshoot of the original flashback from Season 2's Orphan of War is very impactful. Watch this one if you can't get enough of evil Xena, that destroyer of nations. At number 6, it's The Ides of March, the next to last episode of the season from May 10th, 1999. A familiar face has been driven mad by the depths of hell, Callisto. So mad, in fact, she pulled most of her hair out. The blonde barbarian wants no part of this guy, until he reveals that he's in the King of Hell's ear from time to time. A deal is reached. Send Xena and Julius Caesar on the highway to hell. The word is out. Caesar has placed a 6 million dinar bounty on Xena's head. That's all she needed. While Xena goes back to Rome to kill Julius once and for all, Gabrielle and Amaris head to Greece to learn more about the way of love. If only Eli wasn't rudely interrupted by Brutus and the Roman forces. This was inevitable, he says, since Caesar wants to use Gabrielle as an insurance policy. Well, he's too late, because Xena has a clear shot at that neck with her chakram. Never mind, Callisto caught it. Looking for this? The barbarian knows all about their adventures in India and warns the warrior princess about Caesar's intentions. But Xena refuses her help. How about now? Still no? How about now? Xena, are you sure refusing her help is a good idea? The warrior princess frees her friends from captivity and does all she can to clear out the Romans. However, Callisto still has the chakram and lets Xena know what she thinks of her stubbornness. Gabrielle witnesses her best friend's knees buckle upon impact, and outright dismisses the way of love when this guy goes for a fatality. In one of the most memorable moments of the series, our bard furiously kills dudes left and right until reinforcements surround the area. In the final minutes before their executions, Xena apologizes for all the times she didn't treat Gabrielle right, and our bard thanks the warrior princess for bringing out the best in her. Xena's vision of our two heroines dying side by side throughout the season comes true, and Caesar is relentlessly stabbed by his own men at the same time. On this day, the 15th of March, Caesar is dead. Xena and Gabrielle head to a better place, and Callisto is doomed to be tortured by 20 Xenas for eternity. Wait, what do you mean that last part was scrapped? A fantastic 45 minutes of Xena action that would have been quite the season finale, if it actually was the finale. Lots of twists and turns with a great amount of suspense and excellent fight scenes throughout. Of course, a must-see episode. At numero 5, I have A Tale of Two Muses from November 2nd, 1998. Tara is back, and she is about to be whipped for breaking the law again. Xena and Gabrielle arrive in time to save her and demand to know what crime could possibly warrant such harsh discipline. "She danced," replies Istefan, the stuck-up chief magistrate of the town of Palios. Indeed, dancing has become outlawed around these parts, but Tara, an avid fan of the art, isn't about to give up that easily, especially with our two heroines at her side. When they return to the town, Istefan has summoned another voice to reinforce how evil dancing really is. The great prophet, Philippon of Crete! But it's really Autolycus. Groovy. The King of Thieves is more than happy to put on this facade to get back at Istefan for his smart-ass remarks. Philippon denounces the vile art of dance, and every other art form for that matter. The townsfolk eat the propaganda up, except for this man, Telamon, who is the father of Tara's boyfriend,
the great Andros.
Breaking the law, breaking the law. Get your carcasses back into town and finish the job, says Xena, and you know these two are incapable of saying no. Martial discipline is the only way to get these kids to focus, proposes Philippon, and class is in session when Xena the instructor returns. But when the adults disperse, the class actually dances, and it's great. When the town election is held, Istefan is caught red-handed trying to assassinate Philippon. As punishment, he must witness something he despises more than anything else. A dance! Everything about this final dance number is incredible. The jumping jacks and cartwheels, all the goons flying everywhere, and Gabrielle stealing the show with her skills that kills. How do you cap off such a cool ending? With this magnificent freeze frame. I know there's a giant poster of this somewhere. While this episode has commonly been referred to as the Footloose episode, I like to personally call it Step Up BC, because I love those movies. Each showcase of fancy footwork is great, Autolycus' facade is hilarious, and Istefan's facial expressions throughout the episode are right up there with the likes of Salmonius. Now go watch this episode again, and praise Calliope! At number 4, I have A Good Day, another written by Sears from October 26th, 1998. The latest Roman Rumble is Caesar versus Pompey, and these Greeks are smack dab in the middle of it. After saving them from the latest Roman threat, the warrior princess asserts that it's best to allow the war to continue here in Greece. even if it means that this town must burn everything they own to the ground. Which they do. With the mercenary Flanagus and the young archer Temecula at their side, our two heroines are able to get both Roman armies to take each other out, bit by bit. The bad news is both Caesar and Pompey realize that Xena is behind all this. After finding out only half of what Caesar has planned next, the warrior princess has a critical moment with our bard. "You must lead the Greeks into battle while I take care of Caesar and Pompey," says Xena, "but Gabrielle simply cannot send these men to their deaths." Tremendous. As Xena and Pompey talk business, Julius enters the chat, and that is where he messed up. Catapults from the Greeks result in even more Roman casualties, and a killer three-way dance between Xena, Caesar, and Pompey in a mosh pit. Meanwhile, despite her concerns, our bard leads Flanagus, Temecula, and the rest of the Greeks into battle. The jet black-haired heroine quickly enters the fray when Caesar warns her about his reserves. The mercenary's life is soon threatened, and our bard notices. She accepts the implications of tossing this javelin to save Flanagus, but she misses. Badly. The mercenary is then killed, but he is quickly avenged by Temecula. In the end, a vast array of the Roman forces are taken out, but Gabrielle is visibly shaken by her blunder on the battlefield. The episode ends with a funeral pyre for Flanagus as the young archer mourns the death of the man he called his father. Another excellent showcase of storytelling in the ongoing Roman saga. Both of our heroines are presented with some tough decisions to make, leading to some trying moments for each of them. I also really love the dynamic between Gabrielle and Temecula. Here, our bard is the mentor, trying to get the pupil to understand the drastic nature of war. Couple this with the duel in the underground between these three, and you have another 45 minutes of must-watch Xena action. At number 3, it's The Adventures in the Sin Trade two-part saga, a written collaboration between R.J. Stewart and Rob Tappert, and directed by T.J. Scott. Part 1, which kicked off Season 4 on September 28, 1998, follows the final moments of Season 3. The warrior princess searches far and wide for our missing bard, but not even the god of the underworld knows where she is. Xena has no choice but to go to a place she promised she'd never return to. This begins the numerous flashbacks, highlighting what Xena and Boreas were up to following the Depth Saga from Season 3. Meet the shamaness known as Alti, and go after those pesky Amazons for not appreciating her. Also, Xena is pregnant. As we witness more of the adventures of evil Xena, not so evil Xena conducts rituals to locate Gabrielle in the land of the dead. As this group of Siberian Amazons survey the warrior princess from afar, Xena successfully crosses over to the other side. She soon reunites with several of the Amazons she killed in cold blood, including their leader, Queen Cyan. Please help me find my friend, begs Xena. Okay. As Boreas grows impatient with Alti's presence in camp, Xena agrees to assist the shamaness when Alti offers to make her the destroyer of nations. Cyan leads Xena to the gate to eternity, but within moments, the warrior princess decides that stopping Alti is top priority, so Cyan and her tribe can rest in peace. Xena leads Oteri, Yakut, and the rest of the Siberian Amazons into battle against one of Alti's minions, the Berserker. Despite the shamaness's tactics of using Xena's painful memories against her, the warrior princess defeats her opponent. Part 2 aired the following week on October 5th, and thank you, Mr. Tappert. As Xena purifies Oteri and Abanya, the surroundings help her remember the time she spied on Queen Cyan during her own purification ritual. For her treachery, the Destroyer is swiftly robbed of her outfit and taken down in the woods after a cool chase sequence. Buriah saves Xena's neck, and she decides to become a student of the Way of the Amazon. Meanwhile, Yakut is declared the new Amazonian shamaness before a spiritual battle between Xena and Ulti breaks out. After a close call, the enslaved souls are defeated. As the warrior princess calls for a rematch, the Destroyer has a new bestie. "Please join us," offers Cyan. "No, you will be unstoppable with me." The queen defeats the shamaness in a spiritual duel, and warns the Destroyer of a similar fate if she sides with Ulti. "Look out! Here comes the spider gab." Oh, it's Ulti. Things get real personal after the shamaness reveals she placed a curse on Solon before he was born. After finding what was once Cyan and the rest of her tribe in the trees, we see exactly how they ended up like that. Evil Xena sided with Ulti because the title of Destroyer of Nations was an offer she couldn't refuse. The only Amazon she didn't take out was Oteri. Ulti closes in, forcing Xena to pinch herself and the rest of the Amazons. The spiritual rematch of the century is on, with Ulti using snippets of Xena's future against her. When the warrior princess sees a familiar face being set up for a crucifixion, that's all she needed to realize the truth. She couldn't find Gabrielle in the land of the deed because our bard is alive. Ulti is taken out Cyan style. The queen and her tribe are free from purgatory, and Oteri is the new leader of the Amazon nation. The Sintrate saga provides all the elements you'd expect from a thrilling Xena viewing experience. One great two-parter at the end of Season 3 truly deserved another, and we got it here at the start of Season 4. Great stuff from everyone involved. At number 2, I have In Sickness and in Hell, another comedy-filled adventure from the duo of Adam Armus and Nora K. Foster, debuting on October 19th, 1998. Head lice and itchy Christmas-colored skin aren't enough to keep our two heroines from assisting Joxer when he is entrusted to keep a group of marauders out of a local village. These group of bandits are the Scythians, led by Acestus, who wants the magnificent beast, known as Argo, all to himself, so evil could rule the world! From there, the wacky adventure unfolds, with plenty of twists and turns. Highlights include Joxer doing a swanton bomb when he arrives back into town, Xena's fluffy bunny hair and duel with the runs, Gabrielle using anything and everything to stop her itching, both our heroines infesting the other with their ailments, our bard's mouth going numb after drinking linseed root, the warrior princess being heartbroken over Argo's defiance, and of course, my favorite of the bunch, the greatest WWF showdown in BC history, Gabrielle versus the Wabbit. After Joxer neutralizes the entire Scythian army with his deadly radish stew, Xena outwits the leader and regains the trust of her dear pony. So much to enjoy in this one if you love the comedic episodes as much as I do. Go watch it again and again and again and again and again. At number 1. Are you really surprised? It's Deja Vu all over again, Renee O'Connor's directorial debut, and the real season finale from May 17th, 1999. In the year 1999, Xenomania is running wild, brother, but not everyone is a fan. Among the super fans is Any Day, whose latest dream of Season 1's Callisto has her deeply convinced she was the warrior princess in her past life. But her boyfriend Harry isn't having any of this crap and suggests for his girlfriend to get some help. She agrees to get help alright, but from a past lives expert. At the Metaphysical Clinic for Karmic Exploration, it's a costume party of epic proportions, encouraged by the receptionist, Marco. Despite her boyfriend sulking, she eagerly meets with the past lives expert, Matty. As Annie takes numerous voyages into her past life, familiar clips from the first 4 seasons are shown on screen. To her horror, the truth is discovered. She was actually Jackson! Harry barges in, threatening legal action against the Quack if she doesn't reverse Annie's despair. The following voyage, intended to clarify Annie's remembrance, leaves Matty speechless. The expert was there with Annie. Harry decides to go on the next voyage with them to prove that this is all one big scam. But instead, he is finally convinced of the truth. Maybe Joxer wasn't such a bad guy. Let's pretend this never happened, says Matty, but Marco is packed. He activates a ticking time bomb and bids his captives adieu. It's a good thing the return of Callisto aired before this, or else Harry probably doesn't use this chakram to free himself. With 2 seconds to spare, the bomb is deactivated, and that's all Marco needed. The God of War, eagerly anticipating Y2K, is still after Xena's heart because he's a sentimental kind of guy. Instead, a brawl breaks out, and before long, Ares is taken down. Annie breaks up with Harry, but he has no trouble in finding a new lover. The season ends with a great improvised tune from Lucy Lawless as Annie the Mighty sings and dances into the next phase of her life. Another episode with plenty of funniness to go around. The nod to Xena internet chat rooms of the time, Trevor's familiar facial expressions in his final appearance, Harry's attitude toward both Quacks, the cool modern-day set designs, Annie's gradual embrace of her real past life, and the battle between Harry and Ares are all wonderful aspects of Season 4's final 45 minutes. The fact that this was Ares' only appearance in this season doesn't hurt either. Thankfully, this wasn't the last time we'd see these 3 characters. But that's another tale. There you have it, another countdown and another 10 of my favorite episodes from Xena history. As always, leave your own lists for Season 4 in the comments below. Rest assured, we are only getting started with our ongoing discussion of all things Warrior Princess. Season 5 is next, and it will be covered. Until then, battle on, viewers. At number 5, I have A Tale of Two Muses from February 2nd, 1998. February 2nd, wow, no. No, this was not part of Season 3.